This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not. Welcome back to the Warner Brothas Podcast. I'm Kyle, and I'm today joined by my brother Kenan. Kenan, what's up? Glad to have you back.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It's been a weird schedule between both of us, obviously with the games, and when you've been recording, you've been doing late night reactions, which have all been great. And then there was the draft thing with me, Brandon, and Timmy that went on, and so like it's been a minute, but it's been good, and I've been just enjoying these playoffs. These playoffs have been great.
It has been a minute. It has been a good playoff run, you can say, by the teams that are remaining. We had a great first round as well. It's already been a month, essentially, of the playoffs here. I mean, by the time we get to the end of this week, it'll be a month. But it's crazy. It blows by fast. Happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful and beautiful mothers out there.
Yes.
Happy Mother's Day, of course, to Kenan and I's mother.
Went and saw Snow White with her today. Shout out.
I heard. Kenan, do you have a favorite memory of our mom, our great mother?
I still think an all-time memory we still talk about is when she threw the fork at the wall. I think that's an all-time great moment.
Yeah, why trying to intimidate me. There was no, I was never intimidated.
No, that's an all-time great moment for me.
That one does come up, yes. Our mother. I don't know what it was, what kind of throw that was. If it was at my head, if it was supposed to be at the wall, what the intention was. But yeah, I guess I interrupted a dinner that got under her skin to the point where she had to throw a fork. I don't know. I think if I have a favorite memory of our mother, I mean, probably.
I'd have to keep.
If you ever told a funny joke, that would be up there. She's one of the most. She's so generic when it comes to jokes. She'll try to say something funny. It's like, Mom, get out of here. That's not special. But we love our mom, even if she is unfunny. Happy Mother's Day to her. We love you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
She's gonna watch this and be like, "Fuck off, Kyle." Back to the playoffs, though. Let's start here. Let's start with the game we just watched. Obviously, Nuggets versus at home. Actually, Nuggets hosting Thunder for Game 4. I'll be honest. I thought for 95% of this game, I honestly thought the Nuggets were gonna take it, especially once they came back, took the lead. I believe early third quarter, mid third quarter, they hit a couple threes. They take over the game. I mean, we know they shot 21% coming out of halftime.
Yeah, it was something terrible. I think there were 3 of 22 from 3 at the end of the first half, and then they ended up I think they went 7 of 11 for a portion of the game, but they were as cold as you have seen, and I'm going to speak on that in a moment. Will you go on?
Yeah, no, I was going to say what was the other side of the coin there was that the Thunder were not shooting much better offensively. I mean, they might have been shooting in the mid-30s percentage-wise, and they're only up 6 going into halftime while holding the Nuggets to 21%. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, if you're shooting literally as bad as you can from the field, I can't remember any time in my life where someone shot less than 30%, less than 35% going. I mean, I'm sure it happens more often than we remember, maybe less than 35%, but 21% where you're hardly hitting anything. I can't remember ever seeing that. And if you told me, hey, the Nuggets at home shot 21%, didn't make a 3 really probably till midway through the second quarter, I'd say, they're probably losing that game by at least 15 going into half. And they're down 6. So the Thunder's offense wasn't much better. What were your thoughts going through the game? What were your thoughts in the second half? What were your thoughts in the fourth quarter? I'll ask you that. Progressively through the game, what were your thoughts?
So just to give a couple numbers, there were 2 of 22 in the first quarter and 0 of 14 from 3 in the first quarter. In the first half, they were 3 of 22 from 3, and they were 8 of 38 from the floor, as you said, 21%. So
less than 10 makes in the first. I've never seen that. That's got to be a record. They didn't say that, but that's got to be some sort of a record.
It was the lowest scoring first quarter between the two teams, tied for it of all time. So in playoff history. I believe that's what Mark Jones said on the telecast. So, I mean, the Thunder were 3 of 22 from three as well, and they were 34%. Really, what kept kind of what hurt the Nuggets at the end, but kept them in the game was free throw shooting. Like, they were not hitting from the line towards the end of the game. Jokic had a possession or shot 2 free throws towards the end where he missed 2. I think there were 9 of 16 in the second half from the free throw line, but there were 17 of 20 in the first half. And that's really what kept him in the game because OKC doubled him up in field goals made. They made 16 and Denver's 8, but Denver made 17 free throws to only 7 for OKC. They were getting to the paint. So I was with you. I was like, wait a second. They've got one of the best offensive players literally to ever play the game. They got Jamal Murray, who's been playing pretty well throughout these playoffs. Christian Brown, who was actually shooting well during the game, and they're only down half a dozen. Yeah, they'll be fine. And it proved to be exactly what it was. And they were fine, and they got the lead. They were ball was moving. They looked really good in that third quarter. And I thought what the biggest thing was in the fourth quarter was when Shea was on the bench for 3 minutes. The Thunder cut that lead, and they were playing with great pace, good ball movement, getting out in transition after great defensive possessions on Jokic, and they've been bottling up, quote unquote. Like, for what you're going to do to Jokic, they've been bottling up Jokic. He's so great. He's going to get his numbers. I take out game 1 where he had one of the greatest playoff games you'll see. So I wanted to shout out to the Thunder, I'll call them reserves, even though Jalen Williams was in that and he's clearly a star, but kind of the Thunder reserves for holding that lead, and Shea played well down the stretch comparatively to last game 3 where he didn't play well down the stretch at all. So that was really the depth of the Thunder really showcased, and you don't see the depth of teams really matter too much in the playoffs when it gets past like 7 on the bench. But today, the fact that they had 8, 9 guys that they could truly trust to Denver's 6 showed, especially coming off a game where you go to OT, so you play 53 total minutes on a night, and then you come back and you're playing in the afternoon. So that turnaround, 36 hours, playing in the Mile High, it's tough.
Yeah, that's a great point about the foul shots. The foul shots really kept them in the first half, and I agree. I mean, one of the things I had in my notes was just in the fourth quarter, especially how poorly they shot from the foul line, especially in crunch time. Jokic misses those 2, and then I believe Aaron Gordon misses 1 or 2 shortly after that. Jokic hasn't been great from the line in the series, it seems, overall, or at least not knocked down. And I believe going into those last 2 foul shots, and maybe I'm getting this confused with the last game, but at one point he was 11 for 12 from the line. It just seems like he wears down. This game, I thought he had more of a burst than last game. I thought last game was one of the worst games I've ever seen Jokic play in my life. Yeah, but on top of that, he looked sluggish. Whereas today, he actually looked like he had some burst to him. Which you think, as you mentioned, with a 36-hour turnaround, you figure it'd be the other way around.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I continue never to understand the NBA's scheduling in the postseason. I never understand why some teams have 2 nights off. Why, like for the Warriors and Timberwolves, for example, they've had no time off in between. It's been consistently one day. What is it? Pacers and Cavs, they had a few days off. Knicks and Celtics had a few days off. No rhyme or reason as to why your semifinals are just completely different schedules. Why wouldn't both games, both conferences, all 4 series, why wouldn't they be doubleheaders each night with the same exact schedule? I don't understand it.
I don't either.
And if you want to make them every other night like they do with the conference finals, by all means. But at least keep it consistent. I don't understand that. And then to your point, Kenan, in the fourth quarter, you mentioned the depth. You're correct. The depth definitely turned it up. They definitely helped, especially coming off of game 3, where I didn't think the Thunder's depth showed up at all. The Nuggets went cold from 3 again, where they picked it up in the third. I don't think they made a single 3 in the fourth, and if they did, it was late. Actually, I think it was that Aaron Gordon bank.
That Aaron Gordon. I can tell you exactly. Give me just 1 second. They went 1 of 12 from 3 in the fourth quarter, and it was that Aaron Gordon bank. Jokic missed 2, Brown missed 3, Murray missed 2, Westbrook missed 2, Gordon went 1 of 3.
Exactly. They got absolutely nothing from, the 3 ball. And I think, if they even make 2, 3, 4 of those, that negates some of the, the minutes that SGA was on the bench.
Yep.
That kind of cuts it, along with the foul shots. Jokic makes those 2 foul shots, I think, with 2 or 3 minutes to go there. It's a slightly different game.
3 of 8 in the fourth quarter from the
So
foul line. They make all 8. That's a 92-92. Obviously, that's not how it plays out. You play their possessions differently, but theoretically 92-92 if they make all 8 free throws, and they're from Aaron Gordon and Jokic, who are 2 good free throw shooters. So you just got to make them.
So coming out of this game, we're obviously 2-2. We're going to have a do or die game 5 on Tuesday that I cannot wait for. The basketball world will be anxiously awaiting that game. But I got to ask you, Kenan, you had the Thunder in the finals beginning of the season. I believe you even had them in the finals prior to the postseason at one point. In your power rankings for teams that can win it all, I believe they were number 2. I was very surprised to see you choose the Nuggets in the series over the Thunder. I'm curious as to your reasoning. And then follow-up question to that, Kenan. What do you think their chances are 2-2 going to OKC? What are your chances that you give them to win the series overall now?
The Thunder?
Or Nuggets.
The Nuggets, okay. So my thought process going in was Denver's not going to – you fire your coach. You're not punting on the season because you have Jokic. You're never a punt when you have Jokic, but you're just allowing whatever happens. And the way they looked against the Clippers, especially in that Game 7 with Jokic not really being the most efficient from the floor, in that game he was 6 of 14, so like fine, but like we know Jokic is a 57% field goal kind of guy, so 6 of 14 is not the most efficient for him. But the way that they were playing, Jamal Murray was playing well, I ended up leaning towards experience. That's kind of where I went with it, because the Thunder in the first round, Game 1 against Memphis, they did whatever they wanted, and then after that, they didn't fully impress me, so I thought that the experience was going to lean and that Jokic was going to be amazing in the series, and so that's kind of where I leaned to Nuggets in 7, because I thought to myself, Game 7, am I taking Shea and the Young Thunder over the Nuggets? That's kind of like...
Time out. I got to ask, though. We had the same conversation about 2 months ago.
I didn't think it would get to a Game 7. I didn't think it would get to... like, and so that's where the difference comes.
You still got nut crunch time, so I'm wondering where... We still talked about a hypothetical where it's just the Thunder in a series, and you didn't think really anyone in the West, period, could beat them.
I didn't, but as the season started to go on, I started seeing how these teams were rounding, like some of these teams are rounding in the form. Obviously, the Warriors have looked really good since Jimmy Butler. Obviously, right now they don't have Steph. The Lakers were looking up and down, as you were talking about. You like the Clippers more than the Lakers, and you had reason to. They just ran into a Nuggets team that was very tough. So it kind of,
Harden decided to take the night off at Game 7.
I mean,
as I said, in Game 6, he said, "You know what, guys? I'm gonna take this one out. You guys got it from here."
That's exactly why I was not going to pick the Clippers. It was Kawhi's injury. He was great. He was fine. So shout out to Kawhi, because I don't want anyone injured. I also don't want Harden to play bad. I'd like for him to play well. But I was like, I'm not putting faith into that. I just can't do it. And whenever you need it, Harden just shows up in the worst of ways. But I guess
the Nuggets too with me, right?
I thought... yeah, because in that series, I do trust Kawhi. I was like, I think that Harden can play facilitator. I didn't think he would have to. I trusted Kawhi to be big in that Game 7, and I was wrong in that series. And I guess, I guess maybe me being wrong in that also influenced the Thunder kind of watching how the Nuggets were rolling and they were operating, me not loving how the Thunder were playing at that point in time, and then them. So I guess that was in my mindset. And I felt, so far it doesn't look like a bad prediction. It looks like it could go 7, and the Nuggets clearly could win the series in 7. So I just want to quickly point out, over the last 3 games, Jokic is 21 points a game, only 5 assists on 33% shooting and 18% from 3. So legitimately, he's been rebounding very well. So I think 24, 37. So that's a little over 12 a game. He's been averaging. So he's 21, 12, and 6. Still good numbers, but they're not they're not Jokic numbers. So shout out to the Thunder because they've been putting Hartenstein on them with Chet roaming. They've been throwing the bigger Jalen Williams off the bench. They've been putting other Jalen Williams and then been showing three bodies at Jokic and basically saying, hey, Russell Westbrook, Christian Brown, Michael Porter Jr. with one shoulder, Aaron Gordon, and then obviously they've been doing well in Jamal Murray as well as you can. But hey, you guys are going to beat us. And they were just saying, just you guys are going to beat us from the perimeter and making shots off the dribble. We're not letting Jokic beat us. And I think they've done a great job. It just shows how versatile and shows how great of a defensive team they are. And that was one of my biggest takeaways from these playoffs is how important defense is. Like, it's just so vastly important. Like, the Warriors, one of the best defensive teams in the league. The Timberwolves, one of the best defensive teams in the league. The Rockets took the Warriors because they were such a great defense. The Nuggets, playoff-wise, have been playing very good defense. Obviously, the Thunder. And then you get those stints. Even the Knicks have looked pretty solid defensively, but obviously Boston's missed a ton of shots. And then the Cavs are a good defensive team, and the Pacers have played better defense since the calendar year switched over. So defense matters. Of course, defense wins championships, but
So back to part two of this question.
yeah,
2-2 heading back to OKC. Still
I would
feeling like Denver? Like what's your feelings on how the rest of the series goes?
I would lean it probably 56-ish, 40. That'd be 44 Thunder. So like close, because obviously it's 6% different. But like I think the Thunder should be the favorite, and it's because it's not like a fluke of a Jokic, like he's having an off game. They've truly been like making his life incredibly tough and bothering him. Like the bunnies around the basket, they've just been wearing him down. So if Jokic is going to average 21 points and 5 assists for the remainder of the series, they can't win. They just can't win. The Thunder have enough shooting, and Shea's been playing pretty okay, and he's been playing okay enough to where the Thunder can win. But I don't think Jokic is going to continue this. If he's too good of a player, I feel like he'll manage to figure it out. But I would lean Thunder, but the Nuggets still have a chance.
So you picking Thunder?
I'm gonna stick with my pick of Denver, but if I had to bet it, like if you were to say, hey, you're making a bet, I would probably have to lean the Thunder. It'd be the smarter bet, but I'm gonna stick with the Nuggets.
Interesting. Few retorts to that, obviously. First, let me go back. I also picked the Clippers in 7 the first round, then picked the Nuggets this round.
Yep.
I'll say this. Clippers, because we hadn't really talked about it, I really thought, I think I would have picked the Nuggets in that series had Mike Malone been their coach. I had no idea what I was getting from David Allen.
That's kind of where I was at. I was like, wait a second.
Then they went, not to mention, I thought I was at least going to get a great game 7. Like, I thought the Nuggets' chances were good, but I'm like, should be competitive. It was competitive for like 18 minutes, and then Clippers were like, nah, we're good. Peace.
I'm out.
Then I'm thinking, after that, I'm just like, you know what? I said 2 months ago, if we get into this exact situation, Nuggets Thunder, I'm rolling with the Nuggets. So
you did. Yep.
Rolling with them. I'll say this, all right? 2-2. I agree with you with everything you said about you definitely got to favor the Thunder. The Thunder were still favored going into this game down 2-1 for the series props anyway, right? You definitely favor them for game 5 for sure. You assume they're going to win. Then that's where you can throw everything out the window after that. You got a championship team in the Nuggets who have proven, aside from game 2, have proven that they are more than equipped to handle this team. Yeah. I want to point out, you mentioned like Jokic's shooting numbers. He's shooting poorly. They're being physical. The refs are keeping it even on both ends. They're letting these two teams play hockey. This is like I thought Lakers Timberwolves was a very physical first round, which it was. Like it felt like high level basketball for first round, much like Nuggets and Clippers. But I mean, even for whatever reason, Lakers Wolves felt way more physical than any other series in the first round to me. And this is even more physical than that. This feels like a conference finals matchup as well. I mean, it should be a conference finals matchup. These two teams are, obviously that talented. And just that discipline on both sides of the ball, right? Where the hell was I going with this? So just the physicality of it all. I actually think I actually think the Nuggets are built for that better than the Thunder. Even though the Thunder defensively they want to be physical and like that's their game, like that's especially when it comes to the ball handler side of things. But you see a lot of the time, Jokic is bringing the ball up. Jokic is handling the ball 30 feet from the basket, 25 feet from the basket. So almost negates it. And I agree with you. I don't think Jokic is going to continue scoring this poorly. He might continue to shoot a low percentage as well as SGA, but I don't think he's going to be, around the 17, 21, all that. He's eventually going to get these foul calls. Mm-hmm. He feels a lot like prime LeBron, prime Shaq, where anything almost goes with him around the rim. Giannis is the same way with this too, where he probably gets fouled way more often than it's actually called. And you see the results of that with these foul shots late in the game, the 3-point shooting this series. I mean, that was the thing last year in last season's playoffs against the T-Wolves. Didn't shoot well from three because he's playing a lot of minutes. He's getting beat up. That being said, like I was thinking today, like I told you, like most of the game, I thought the Nuggets were going to have it because they were shooting so poorly and stayed in it, because Jokic can do so much for you. If he's not scoring well, he can at least get guys good shots to where they can score. Michael Porter Jr. didn't have it today, but we saw Michael Porter Jr. to score 21 in the previous game on open threes. So you always have that to where you can flip the switch, and Jokic is the best point guard in the league, essentially. So that helps. So I give him the nod. If we're doing just superstars right now, MVP candidates, I give him the nod in that case, in SGA in this series. That being said, if you're telling me it's going to look like game 2, teams are going to get blown out, obviously you favor for the Thunder. But I think even if the Nuggets lose game 5, and we'll talk about this with other teams when we talk about the other series, but like I didn't see today with the Thunder losing. I don't think it was a missed opportunity. I mean, obviously it was, but I mean, they were playing poorly the whole game. I thought the foul shots down the stretch were a missed opportunity, but I don't feel like they choked the game away. And now that they're in dire need for a game 5, even though we know the stats on whoever wins game 5 often wins the series.
Yep.
That's why we love to call them do or die game 5s. But I don't think the Nuggets are in deep trouble if they go and lose on Tuesday. You'll have a home game where you're going to get their best effort, and you're probably going to get the benefit of the whistle. You're probably going to get Jokic's best shot in that series. You're going to you might see Jokic put up 40 shots in that game. So I'm not necessarily scared if they're going down 3-2, having picked the Nuggets. I still like their chances. I still think it goes 7. After that, who the hell knows? But game 7, even if it's in OKC, I'm probably going to feel more confident in the Nuggets than whoever's coming off the bench for the Thunder. Real quick, because I'm going on a lot here. The one thing I do like that the Nuggets are doing defensively, they're basically daring people like Lou Dort, people like Chet. They're giving Hartenstein that floater in the middle. That's kind of whatever, but which he apparently makes 82% of the time. But they're Darren Caruso, who's been making them, to his credit. But Lou Dort, keeping the tradition alive for the OKC Thunder of 2 guards who just can't really shoot well. I know he shot well in the regular season, but Lou Dort is not. He's not a knockdown shooter. He ain't like that. So he's keeping the tradition of Thabo Sefolosha and Andre Roberson going with the Thunder 2 guards. But they're really making these Thunder wings shoot the ball. Chet, making him shoot the ball. That's mixed results. So I don't know. I kind of like it. The same way Jokic is getting bottled up, SGA is getting bottled up on the other. So
yes, he is.
If you're telling me it's going to be the same both ways, I'm taking Jokic all day in that regard. So. But we'll see. And Jamal Murray's been playing well for them in the clutch down the stretch. He's been making big shots. Really, if they can at least get one of MPJ, Aaron Gordon, or I should say MPJ, Westbrook, Braun, if you can get one good game out of them, because Watson's actually been giving you good minutes down the stretch here, I think, I'm not worried about their chances. But I just rambled on forever. So you can take control of the pod right here. We can either move on to another series if you got more to say about this series, go on to that.
I think each team wins at home when we get a game 7. So I think Thunder win game 5, Nuggets win game 6, game 7 we don't know. But no, I have no more to say about this series. I think we covered it pretty much through and through. It's one of the most, if not the most intriguing series of the entire second round. We'll move to the game that's tonight, and we'll go Cavs Pacers. So I really like this series. Is fun. as you had said on a previous one than one of the solos that you did, that I was high on the Pacers this year, and I definitely noticed midway through the season they were playing really good basketball. And Tyrese Halliburton, he had one of his classic no-show games in Game 3, but other than that, for the majority, he's been playing really inspired and aggressive basketball. I think the Pacers have a lot of depth and they have a lot of shooting around the basket. They can get out and run and transition. Uh, Unlike the Nuggets, I think that this game, I mean, they could still win the series theoretically if they lose this game four, of course, because it would just be 2-2. But I think for the Nuggets, it was a win and you take firm control of the series, or lose and you're in a position where you're still happy. You'd be happy if you said, hey, you're 2-2 with the Thunder going back in game five. I think with the Pacers, and especially with them winning both in Cleveland, I think this game four is vastly important for them to win. If they can get up 3-1 and close the series out in six in Indiana, because could they win a game seven on the road? Sure. I mean, they did it last year against the Knicks, but that was against the hobbled Jalen Brunson. That was against Julius Randle, who wasn't in the lineup. Josh Hart was playing 48 minutes a game. DiVincenzo was really not the only other consistent player for them, because OG tried to play in that game seven for 4 minutes and then had to sit. But I think a game seven in Cleveland, it would be a very big ask for Indiana. I think this game four is truly not the series, because they still have a chance to win. I can't say they don't. But I think this game four is much more important for the Pacers than I would say it was for the Nuggets today. My opinion.
I kind of agree with you. I do have confidence, and I know I was kind of dismissive of the Pacers in general going into this postseason. But I think they're built for a long series,
Yeah.
especially with the way Halliburton's way more consistent. I mean, we saw them compete even in a sweep. We saw them really give Boston a run for their money. I mean, they competed the entire way. The defense might not have been there,
Mm-hmm.
but
Jaylen Brown hit an incredible shot in game one, and then Tyrese Halliburton went down, and they're still giving him fits. So
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think tonight's going to be a fantastic game. I
yeah,
think tonight
same.
has a chance to be a classic. Um, I think you're going to get the Pacers' best shot. Obviously, you're going to get a desperate Cavs team. So if the Pacers match that, like if we think it's going to be that type of intensity, even if they go up 3-1, I have a feeling we're getting the sixth game regardless.
Oh,
I
I
feel like
agree.
I
I
feel like
agree.
Cleveland's winning at home next game regardless. Regardless if they lose tonight, regardless if they win tonight, I think they win the next game, and I think we're going to get a game six. I think there's a good chance Cleveland could just run the table, especially with the way Donovan Mitchell's playing.
Yep.
But I think this is going 7-2. I really do. Like, gun to my head, I think this is going seven. And that's even if the Pacers win tonight. And I kind of think just the way things are going, I mean, we'll talk about the Warriors soon, but it just seems like one of these in the Eastern Conference has to be 3-1. But it's really a 50-50 game tonight. And Donovan Mitchell, we know he's not going to have a bad game. It would be surprising if Donovan Mitchell had a bad game. He is tearing the Pacers up. He's a big-time postseason performer anyway. I expect Halliburton to have a much better game than he did previously, putting up 4 and 5. And you got Mobley back, you got Garland back, and obviously they're not 100%, but I don't know. I think they do enough. They got the coach of the year for whatever that's worth. Kenny X is a great coach. Carlisle's a great coach too, so it's an underrated coaching matchup. But overall, I think we get a great game. I'm going to roll with the Cavs tonight. I'm going to say the Cavs tied up at 2. I would not be surprised to see the Pacers win, but I think we're getting a game 6 no matter what. I think this is a long series, and the Cavs are built for it.
Yep.
And both teams are built for it, truly.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% that the Pacers are built for a long series. I have the Pacers winning tonight. I think that they're going to edge it out and get up 3-1. Cleveland will win game 5. And then I would probably, as of this moment, lean the Pacers in game 6, but Cleveland, I mean, Donovan Mitchell he was my sleeping giant. We talked about players in the playoffs because he is somebody who I don't think gets the superstar respect that he does deserve. I mean, in the playoffs, he is 28, 5 and 5. He is a playoff killer. So that's been that he's one of the great ones that really elevates their game from the regular season to the playoffs. And I think the fact that sometimes he has not lackluster regular seasons, but they're not like the eye popping, oh, Shea 33 a game or Luca 34 a game roughly last year, like those kind of seasons.
He's
That
had him. He's had some
I was gonna say,
fantastic.
he's had some really good seasons with the Jazz. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it was.
I
I
think
mean,
even
he
last
averaged
season, I think last
tw-
season he had a crazy season with Cleveland.
20 his first year in Cleveland, he averaged 28 a game. Last year was 26, 5 and 6. So like don't get me wrong, like he's really good. I just think sometimes he kind of gets lost in the I truly think he's one of the superstars of the game, and I feel like sometimes he gets lost in like kind of the shuffle there. Um I think I think he's great, but I think the Pacers do win this game tonight, and we'll see if they do.
You picked the
I
Pacers in 6?
I picked before the series Cavs in 7,
Okay.
and I think as of this moment I would lean Pacers in 6 because I did not expect them to get 2 in Cleveland. I did not think that at all. So I would probably lean Pacers in 6, and if it went to a 7, I would go Cavs in 7. Um, Usually with the teams that are the lower seeds, if I have them winning, I typically you have them in 6. I think always them on the road in a game 7, unless you have a veteran squad. I say like the Warriors all healthy. Like those are the teams that I could favor in a game 7 rather than younger teams. Even though like the Pacers are like younger veterans because like Miles Turner's been in the league for 10 years, Halliburton's been in the league for multiple years. So they have players who have been in situations before. It's just they're like Benedict Matherin's new to the playoffs. Neesmith, they had like a run last year, but they're not like vets of the playoffs. So, but right now, I think Pacers win game 4. Kyle, you think that Cavs win game 4, and we can probably move on to the next series. You want to talk Boston, or do you want to go Timberwolves?
Let's talk Timberwolves Warriors
Okay.
because you brought them up.
Yep.
Um, I was not surprised you picked them the Warriors in 7. You are a Steph ride or die if there was ever a Steph Curry ride or die fan. I gotta
I
ask.
genuinely felt like there. I genuinely felt that. I'm not
I
gonna lie to you.
I gotta ask how you came to that conclusion because I'll say this: you mentioned how if you have that team like the Warriors in a game 7 on the road, you have confidence in them, which is true.
Yep.
And I can't remember my pick exactly. I think I picked the Warriors in either 5 or 6 against the Rockets.
Yeah, the Warriors.
And,
We both had Warriors in 6 against the Rockets.
and I will admit, coming off of that game where they only scored 1 field goal in the fourth quarter, I was worried about them going into that game 7. Once the game started to like actually develop, even with how poorly Steph was shooting, um, I'm like, all right, you can see how comfortable the Warriors are.
Yeah.
Push comes to shove, you're gonna pick the Warriors here. But going into that game, I was super worried for them as someone who wanted to see them in the second round, right? So
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried for them losing that game. Like, no, I like obviously you have the confidence that Steph and Jimmy will figure it out, but
sure,
I mean,
sure.
if you
And
can get
so
to a game 6, 7, then I think you've proven that you can beat a team. So,
sure, sure. And so going into this series, then after seeing them face a athletic and physical Rockets team, I was kind of like, and especially how the Timberwolves played. I loved how the Timberwolves took it from the Lakers, but matched up with them. Like they were just you could see immediately like, oh, this is a team that belongs in the conference finals.
yeah,
Obviously they were last year, but you
agree.
can just their role players, Nikhil Alexander Walker, McDaniels, like they always stick out to me in these series. Like they look so ready for the playoffs. Like they're not phased by the moment at all. Much like Aaron Gordon, they're just so additive to their team, right? They amplify their team even.
Yes.
Um, anyway, back to the Wolves. Their physicality on defense. We saw how the Rockets could give the Warriors problems. Why were you so confident in the Warriors winning in 7? And I'll give you my reason why I picked the Wolves in 7 in this series.
I think they're two different defenses, though they're both elite. So the way Udoka goes into that series is we're by hell or high water. We're not letting Steph beat us at all. Like he's just not going to beat us.
Double team off ball if they have to.
Double team off ball. You've got a guy like Amen Thompson who laterally almost is the quickest guy in the league. Like he is so talented. Like you have that. And then obviously they love to go with the 2-man action. And if there are times where Draymond's obviously going for it. They could put Tari Eason, who is very quick laterally. They have bodies. Jabari Smith, quick laterally for a guy who is that tall, like 6'10". So comparatively to, I think he's quicker laterally than the guy like Julius Randle. So, or Naz Reid. And that's kind of where I lean towards. Like in the regular season too, you saw Steph against the Timberwolves. They went 3-1. This is all before Jimmy, and Steph averaged 31-9 on great efficiency in the 3 wins that they had against the Timberwolves. It was them late. And I think you saw it a lot in the beginning of the game. They were going to trust their defense and their individual defenders on Steph, and Steph had more breathing room in that first quarter than he had the entire or first quarter and a half than he did that entire series against the Rockets. And I thought that the way that the Timberwolves play defense, they're perfect for the Lakers. They have bigger guys who can get physical with you, and they play great one-on-one defense, especially with people who don't move really quick laterally. But I thought with the switches that they were going to have, that he was going to be able to take advantage of the Rudy Gobert, the Naz Reid, the Julius Randle kind of matchups. Even though Jaden McDaniels, don't get me wrong, great defender. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, another very high-level defender. Mike Conley's a good defender, but he's obviously aging. So I thought there was more matchups that Steph could exploit in this one comparatively to the Rockets series, and I didn't think I don't think Finch was going to take the Steph is not going to do anything, we're going to double team him kind of approach. I thought they were going to take the more stand up. We're going to obviously pressure and make sure he doesn't go nuts, but I thought he would be less affected by the Timberwolves defense than the Rockets defense. So though they're really good, that's kind of where my thought process went.
Interesting. I see where you're coming from. I think as the series would have went on, and it sucks because it doesn't even matter to talk about because Steph is injured, but I think they would have took the ball out of his hands eventually, given that you don't really have many offensive weapons. That being said, Hield's played pretty well since Game 7 forward. I mean, we had the Buddy Hield game in Game 7. Talked about the Game 7, didn't even mention Buddy. But, man, honestly, what it was for me is Jimmy Butler. He's just not – I think I mentioned this in one of my reactions the other night. Like, he reminds me of late career Dwayne Wade, where you could get it maybe every 2 games, but every night, so what do you have last night? 33?
33, 7-7, I believe.
I have a hard time believing he's going to follow it up with anything. Like, I could picture him putting up 21 in Monday's game, which ain't going to be enough unless you get another great Buddy Hield game, unless you get Draymond to step up and be mature in any sort of capacity. I mean, he fouled out immediately in last night's game after picking up his 5th foul essentially.
Yeah.
So I mean, we talked about with the Nuggets. Today wasn't necessarily a must win for them, even though they were at one point ahead in the second half. Yesterday was completely a must win. I mean, I talked about it. I thought they were going to treat that like a Game 7. They did. They were at one point ahead. Like, it looked like things looked good for them at one point, and obviously did not have a great first half. Hasn't really had a great series. Took over the second half. But, I mean, the Warriors were right there. And, again, Draymond gave you essentially nothing. Jimmy gave you everything. Hield came on in the second half after having a poor first half. Kuminga gave you 30. Are you going to replicate that again in Monday's game?
It's going to come down to, I think Jimmy can get you like a 25, 26, 27, roughly around there. I'm with you where that Game 3 was the one that I circled, like, that's the one they're going to win. And then Game 4, they're going to try to go out there, do what they did in Game 5 against Houston, kind of. We're going to go out there, throw the troops out, try to go win this game. If we don't have it, rest our guys, get them 30 minutes, and then see how Game 5 goes. If Steph can come back for Game 5, maybe. If not, most likely Game 6, even though we're down 3-2. But they've been down 3-2 in holes before. So I do think they're obviously going to treat this Game 4 like a Game 7, so you might get a great effort out of Jimmy. Like, you might get one. He might have one more in him. Like, I'm with you, Kyle, where, like, 2023 and 2020, when they both went on those finals runs, you're like, if the moment calls for it, Jimmy will be there. The moment calls for it, Jimmy might be there. So, like, and you'll know with Jimmy Butler, within the first 4 minutes. And I saw that even talking about the 2023 Heat run, there were just multiple games where I was like, what are you, like he just comes out passive, like truly passive, and it's almost like he was tired or like something. I know he got like hurt towards the back half of that series, but it was even in the beginning series. Sometimes it just felt like Jimmy would come out and be like more passive than he needs to be, and
Which I
like
can understand because those teams. I mean, you got to remember. I think that was an A seed that made the finals in
oh yeah,
23. That
absolutely.
team's
So
not terribly talented, so I can understand the whole like I'm going to conserve my energy for the second half.
and that was kind of my thought process between by them. I thought they were going to be able to get a game, and the game played out as I expected it to for the most part. And then shout out to Trent for this because I thought it, but he said it. I think the game did flip on that Ant dunk. I think he got going like after that. Like he was getting kind of downhill, but I think after that you get energized. The bench got energized, the team got energized, and they started to play some flowing basketball after that. I think one big play, especially when you're on the road, can kind of calm things down and get some momentum back on your side. Even though Buddy Hield decided to put was it Walker in the blender? He
Even
like
that though.
it was DiVincenzo he put in the blender and hit a three. I think that sparked the Minnesota offense, which was what needed to really get sparked. Because the lower the scoring game, the better for the Warriors. Like, if you can keep this game in the high 80s, low 90s, then the Warriors have a chance to win. I think once it touches 100, then it's like, oh, it's hard. Like Pods has been off. Moses Moody, who was playing really well during the season, he hasn't been hitting, so he's been relegated to kind of spot minutes and see if he has it on the day. If not, he's going to be sitting. So they need a huge role player game this game in game 4. Big ask. Big ask.
What you just said, what
Big
you just
ask.
said is why I was so surprised. Not surprised that you picked. Again, I knew you would pick them, but
Steph changes the entire complexion of how they get, like how
for sure.
easy
No,
they
no,
get
no,
to
no.
their shots,
I
and
got that.
that
I
is
got
where it
that.
comes down to. Like I would have had if obviously it just changes the entire thing, and I guess because like Buddy Hield gets wide open threes, Moses Moody gets wide open threes,
No, I
rather
get
than
that.
like half contested kind of I'm rushing them, and that's
I
where
get that.
the changes. So
I'm saying even with all that, Moses Moody, you can't count on. You can't count on a lot of these guys. It feels like the Warriors are like a guy or two short to me. I don't think I don't think they're as good of a team with as the T Wolves. And I honestly, I think since this Jimmy Butler trade, Kenan, I think I've flipped in my own mind on the Warriors like 87 times. There's nights where I saw them and I'm like, oh, this is a conference finals team. Then there's other nights where I'm like, damn, they don't have the depth. Uh, there's times where, Gary Payton Jr. will get the ball in the corner and it's like, damn, if that was somebody else who could actually shoot, they could use that. And I know they love GP there, and I know like he was part of their run in 22. But
and there are
all the
times where
stuff he
he's
does,
hitting, like every now and again he's hitting that corner three, and when he does, that makes him
I mean,
like
picture if
not
that's
that makes him like a
DiVincenzo.
close to an elite role player because he plays high level defense, and if he's hitting that corner three, he can get downhill and even a small pick and roll. He plays like a Bruce Bowen or not Bruce Bowen, Bruce
That's the
Brown kind
handle
of.
of this front office and why like the Warrior. Like I haven't understood the Warriors again post KD, but they had someone like DiVincenzo who you could have used in this game. They didn't sign him long term. They let him walk. And then they have to go and trade for a GP the season after. They just don't. They just have a shooter short, and they can get that sometimes from Quentin Post. I guess there was times against the Rockets where Quentin Post looked like a true factor. He
Mhm.
hasn't been that this series, but they're a shot creator, at least someone who can get you 12 points on a whim, and they're asking Kuminga to do that. But even with Kuminga producing the way he's producing, still seems like they're a guy short. And look, they lose by 5 yesterday, and Draymond gives you 2, 4, and 6, or 2, 4, and 5, whatever you put up. Not enough, not enough. Um, so hey, maybe Draymond can turn the clock back and maybe give you Game 7 against the Cavs. Draymond.
32,
Um,
15, and 7, I believe. That was if Draymond needs to get double digit points and he needs to be yeah, he does need to turn back the clock. But
even if it's his classic triple single games, like even if he
yeah,
gave us 8, 8, and 8, 8, and 8. if he gives you that, then you're in a better spot than what he's been. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to score the ball. I know he shot well in game one, but you have to pick up the load somewhere with Steph gone, and
Mm-hmm.
Draymond hasn't been doing it. Honestly, I think their best move. I think they should take a page out of the Thunder and Nuggets. Really make this series ugly. Really make Game 4 ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Start Kevon Looney with Draymond
Oh,
Green, and if not
I think
start him,
Kenan needs more
if not
minutes.
start him, play Trace Jackson Davis because he's been playing well too.
Yes.
If not start him, give Looney a lot of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get second chance points. Looney's at least a decent enough passer too, to where he can get guys on the cut. Make it ugly, foul early, put pressure on the refs, make it one of those games.
Yeah.
Because Ant hasn't, up until yesterday's game, he hasn't had a great series.
Mm.
So try to put pressure on him. If you can get 20 to 25 out of Jimmy, and you can get another Buddy Hield game, you're gonna have a chance. And then again, hope Draymond can just be a mature adult.
Something. Yeah.
Give you more than 2, 4, and 5. I mean, come on, Draymond.
Yeah.
So
No.
I'm
And
hoping for
so
a long series, but
same.
I think it's pointing to Warriors losing in 5. I want it to get to 6, obviously, so we can see Steph.
Yeah.
But
I'm leaning there too. Like I'm gonna hope that they can win Game 4 just for the basketball sake, and see if Steph can come back and try to will him Game 6, and then get to a Game 7 where he's one of the best Game 7 performers, honestly, of all time. But so when it came down to it, it was Kyle. It was Steph is going to be Steph and be great. Jimmy's going to give you give you good moments. He's been playing well off of Steph. Draymond's obviously going to give you elite defense and one role player a game. Like they have a rotation of 5 or 6 that can give. Like that's kind of where I kind of lean towards. I thought the series was going to go that because I thought Steph was going to have a better series this one than he did against the Rockets. I thought you could even see like maybe a 38 to 40 point game. I know he had 36 in game 4. I think game 4. He had 36 in game 4, 31 in game 1. But I thought you were going to get a better Steph, and that's kind of where I leaned Warriors in 7. But when I make those, I obviously the Timberwolves can win a series. If I think it's going 7, they can win I think they can win. Like I've never been like, oh yeah, it's going 7, but this team has no chance of winning. That doesn't make sense. It's not going 7 if they have no chance of winning. So Timberwolves are a great team. They definitely deserve to be a conference finals representative. If they are, you wish Steph was there so they don't have even the excuse of like, oh, Steph wasn't there, so they weren't going to win the series kind of thing. So I feel bad in that capacity, but I do think there's a very small window for the Warriors to get there. But we're been talking about Nuggets, not really a do or die game 4. Pacers, kind of not do or die, but one that you should really get to really take control of. For the Warriors, clear do or die. You do that. I mean, we both were talking like if there was a random down team to go win a game on the road, it would be the Warriors, because maybe the Timberwolves just like take on the Ant personality, like we'll be fine. So maybe they do, but I give them again a 1% chance. I was talking to you before. But I'm excited for that game 4. I think it's gonna be fun. But we can go to.
I'll say this: Can I
go on before we go to your?
I'm actually going to
Celtic?
directly contradict myself.
Yep.
I said it's leaning toward Wolves in 5, which I do believe, but I do think, going along with what we said about Jimmy Butler, let's say Jimmy has one of those games where it's like 18 points,
He'd be more apt to give you 40 in a game 5.
right? Like if he does take the night off, or they do feel confident that they can at least like truly win in Minnesota, which I guess they've earned that, right? Even though I think it's playing with fire. I could see that where he takes the night off, and then I guess it would be Wednesday for game 5.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that. I could see a world where that happens. Like I definitely don't think
if there's a veteran squad to do it, it would be him doing it. So like,
and it would all depend on how they lose in game 4.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or how it looks. You wouldn't want to get blown out, but you also wouldn't want to lose a heartbreaker either. So it's almost like you want to lose by 12 if you're getting this kind of game. If I'm making any sense here, that would be how I look at it.
Or maybe a blowout and an early blowout,
and have everyone.
Like just to be like the Timberwolves are up 25 at half, and you're like, I'll give them 5 minutes and then pull them. So like maybe like that would be what you would want, just so like Jimmy plays 28 minutes, and so then you go out there and you're like, okay, guys, obviously it's a do or die because you're down 3-1, but like, Jimmy, we need 35 win goal.
Then after Game 5, you might have seen this in one of my reactions because the NBA is just so genius. After Game 5, you get a couple days of rest in between.
Oh, don't worry, they have 3 days because they play Wednesday, then they play Sunday again because the Golden State Valkyries play on Friday, I believe. So like in Golden State, so they have to push that back, and I think to make it schedule wise, yeah. So
So,
you
I
got
mean, hey,
they should thank God that they got a WNBA team because if not, they probably are playing on Friday.
yeah, I don't get the NBA with their scheduling at all. Or maybe they make that a Saturday game, but the fact you can go all the way to Sunday, who knows?
Listen,
Who knows?
and that bodes very well for them. And then the one thing is obviously if Steph's hamstring becomes 100% by that point, and we're okay with it, obviously
It will not.
well, by 100%, I mean 100% where he can play. Like he's not gonna like come up lame, kind of thing. The one cool thing for him, I guess, is he's got like the rest of his body's had a chance to heal. Like because obviously that Rockets here was very physical, but like you also don't want to be out of rhythm. But if there's a guy to come back and be in rhythm, it's the greatest shooter to ever live. So
Hamstrings
speaking of
don't get
shooting,
on rhythm though. That's
absolutely. You don't play with those. But speaking of shooting, you want to go to Boston, talk Boston Knicks real quick? So this Boston Celtics team, as I was extremely confident they were going to get to the finals, just like get there because I didn't. I thought the way Jason Tatum was playing, it was just playing great. Obviously, they live by the 3, you die by the 3, so you miss, I think, 43s in game 1, something like that. Like it's crazy, but Jason Tatum has been upsetting me as just a basketball person to watch him. Like it's just there's so many times where I feel like he can get downhill and get to the mid range more. Like in game 3, you saw it a little more, but even then he hit his first 3. So like he was trying to then cook from the 3-point line even more. But like he's 6'10", obviously athletic, can finish with both hands, has a really nice mid range game. We saw him go 34 for 34 from the line in the last 3 games against the Magic. So he can get to the line, and if you're getting to the line, that's where you get kind of back in rhythm. You see the ball go into the basket. Take Mitchell Robinson off the bounce and just get there. You're not Steph in the sense of Mitchell Robinson 6'11". I mean, even Steph gets to the basket now, but like he's 6'11" and Steph's 6'3", to where like maybe the jumper is better sometimes because you still have like a trail block opportunity because obviously Steph's not bouncing out of the building. You're an inch or 2 shorter than him. Like you can, like he shouldn't block you like over your shoulder. Finish at the basket. They don't have much rim protection outside of him because depending on if Karl Anthony Towns is in, but Karl Anthony Towns is not typically in with Mitch Robinson. If not, take Karl Anthony Towns off the bounce, or take Jalen Brunson in the post and get him on a fadeaway. Like I don't know. That upsets me. Also, I want to just quickly point this out so I don't forget. I've seen more zone than I've ever seen. Like every team seems to be going to a zone heavy defensively for like not just for like I'm gonna throw a little wrinkle there. Like the Nuggets were in it for 10 minutes, a game minutes. Like the Warriors love to run zone, and it still gets me to this day that like NBA teams really struggle with zone. So it's one of those things where I'm like, just put a guy at the high post and just have a couple shooters on the wing and just shoot them out of it. Like it always get to me. I'm like, wait a second, they can't. And obviously these are world-class athletes with great intelligence, high IQ, can play defense. So like, it's not just that easy but like it just for some reason I'm like, wait a second. That's the first thing we learned is how to beat a zone. So, but anyways, Jason Tatum needs to get to the basket. You go.
For sure, yeah. I think quickly the difference with NBA zones is often they're more intricate, I guess, but there is sometimes, a lot of times in years past where you'll see just like, oh, because you can't, because of the defensive 3 seconds rule and you can't camp out, you almost have to play a junk zone. So you can't even play like a true 2-3 zone or, a zone you could play internationally or in college. So the middle's even more wide open. Like it honestly seems like you have like 18 feet of space in that zone, and you still would see people like playing their regular offense, just like posted up around the outside rather than just cutting to the middle,
It
which is
it
why the
makes
Nuggets so well because Jokic is like, all right, I'll sit in the high post and we'll go from there.
it just makes
But
no sense because you're in a position where like you can get to the middle, you swing the ball quickly, and as you were saying, because you have to be out in 3 seconds, there's so many wide open gaps to drive. All you do quick swing the ball, find the gap to drive, get guard penetration, dish it out for corner threes, wing threes, or just take a floater.
that's great.
It's not that difficult. Like I swear it's not that difficult, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Celtics Knicks. I mean, hey, you saw the greatest hits of everything that Celtics fans hate about this team over years
Yep.
past. Uh, they can just be soft. They can settle for jumpers, threes,
Uh-huh.
obviously. I know, like you saw that still. I think it was in game one of Tatum. He had the ball wide open in the corner, wide open. Jalen Brunson's like falling to the ground,
Yep.
and Jalen Brown or Al Horford, someone's wide open underneath the basket, and Tatum shoots a three and breaks it instead of either going to the rim or passing it to the wide open guy under the rim. Um, that's
And
where the
he's a
Celtics.
good shooter, but he's not Clay, where you're like, that's a layup. Please take it. And because no, typically it's like Kevon Looney, and even then, you still like I still think like Clay sometimes would
I
even be like,
mean,
ah,
unfortunately, that's like 97% of the NBA at this point, who they're not even gonna look at the rim. They're just gonna shoot that three. Um, I don't know. Even down 2-0, I never really thought the Celtics were going to lose the series. I still think I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics win it in six. Um,
neither would I.
I think you're going to get the Knicks' best effort being their second home game tomorrow, right? I mean, that place is going to be insane once again. I think you're going to get a better game. But if, push comes to shove, which this is a push comes to shove moment, I think you're going to get Tatum more going to the rim. I think you're going to get a better Tatum game. Um, Porzingis, who the streets say, I don't want to put this on. I'm just going to say what the streets are saying. Streets are saying that all right. We'll just say the streets are saying Porzingis caught the virus. All
Yep.
right. So I'm not going to put that on him, but he is battling something since March, a long-term virus. I don't know what the hell it is. It's affecting his play. But if you can get 20 minutes out of him, that's going to be enough to get the Knicks out of here, I think. I mean, regardless of how the fourth quarters went, games one and two. The defense has been there. That's even with poor Porzingis minutes, right? Uh, but the most important thing out of this is they were up 20 in games one and two while shooting poorly. And then we're up big on the Knicks pretty much wire to wire yesterday. I don't understand why they're treating Mitchell Robinson like Will Chamberlain with the hack of Mitch. And not only that, like they've said in post game interviews, even like they really are making it a point to get him out of the game. And we're talking about a team like we talk about how you only need maybe 7 players in the playoffs, right? You want 7 or 8 quality guys. The Knicks truly only have 6 guys. Mitchell Robinson being that 6th guy. No offense to Deuce McBride. Deuce can do a little things off the bench, but like he's not a factor against the Celtics and all they can present defensively. So I don't know. I think the Celtics win tomorrow. I think they get it right at home, and I think they'll be up 3-2 going back to the Garden in Game 6, which will
Um,
be an insane game. I'll
so
love everything that comes with that. Um,
sounds weird, but I think it's a do or die game for the Knicks in Game 4.
for sure, no, for sure, they are just so supremely. I wouldn't have been surprised, Kenan. Honestly, like I picked the Celtics in 5. I wouldn't have been surprised if the Celtics swept. Really, because of the depth, and really, I mean, we see it. Town still gets in foul trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you combine that with the talent the Celtics have, and it looked like they want to step on people's throat. Like that Magic series, that would have been a textbook 6-game series that the Celtics could have got out in 5, and they got it done in 5. And Tatum
Yep.
played pretty well, and even
Yep.
despite the injury, and people who love to shit on Jason Tatum, he did have a wrist injury that caused him to miss a game in the first round. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna. That's not to make excuses for him, but because I mean, Jokic's certainly banged up. Obviously, Steph's been banged up. All these guys are banged up, but I don't under we talked about this last year. I really don't understand all the hate the Celtics team gets. Like, it's unnecessary. Like, it was necessary after the first two games for sure, but
And it's not even hate; it's just realism. Like,
it's
yeah.
realism. But there's people who like go out of their way with Jason Tatum.
Oh,
It's weird.
Oh no, I 100% agree with you there. But
What
I'm
was
just saying,
funny?
after game two, like it's just realistic. Like people are gonna question that championship last year if you guys lose in 5 to the Knicks in the second
Oh, for
round.
sure. No,
Like
for
I
sure. But
mean
then
that's more realistic. But
people
Jason
were just
Tatum, though, I
saying,
think is crazy. I
people
think
say
that's
some
crazy.
bullshit about Jason Tatum though, and people were talking about like, I mean, I said on here, yeah, it's fair to question if they go down sad, especially to
Yeah,
the.
yeah.
But I'll say the funniest thing I did see after game two though was people saying that Steve Kerr saved America by benching Jason Tatum. That was funny. That was funny.
That is
Like that.
funny.
That's
That is.
reasonable clowning. But some people like are preying on his downfall, and I don't really understand it because I could understand it if it was this way since he was 19. But he was pretty popular up until the last few years, and I don't know.
He
People got
also
weird.
doesn't do anything. Like he's
Doesn't do
not one.
anything.
It's not one of those guys where you
Not
see
Draymond
like
Green.
yeah, and Draymond Green or even like John, a different sense where you just like, why are you continuously doing stupid stuff that you know the league's not gonna like? Like it's just like Jason. All Jason Tatum does is go out there, professional, plays the game, it's done. People don't like him complaining for calls, but hey, you guys like Luka, he complains for calls. You guys like LeBron, I mean polarizing LeBron, obviously he complains for calls. Jokic complains, like all the stars really do. Like that's just kind
Jokic is
of
psycho. Jokic is on the Draymond level to where Jokic could get ejected every game with how he berates refs like Draymond, and they give him a long leash. Like I've
they
never
really
seen a
do.
superstar get the leash that Jokic does. Honest to God. And
Oh.
I know Luka Doncic, he complains a lot. Like he bitches a lot. He complains a lot. Jokic is like fucking cussing out a ref like Draymond does. And they gave Draymond a leash after the first one. Jokic has a leash the entire game like I've never seen. Never seen that of a superstar as far as like he's cussing them out in Serbian for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But no, absolutely. I'm excited for game 4 tomorrow. I think that game 4 is going to be one of those fun ones. Brunson's going to come to play. But I do think Boston takes it, and I honestly think Boston wins the series in 6. I truly do.
I think
If I could it get to 7, of course. I don't like. I'm still with them being down 2-0. I would have been shocked if they lost the series. Like genuinely would have been shocked. I don't like, and I mean I don't know how that would be because like the Knicks clearly showed they can come back from 20-point deficits. They have a closer in Jalen Brunson. Like they have a team that play the good wing defenders that can kind of match up with Boston. But like even still, I was in the position where it's like they took historically bad shooting to lose on 2 last pretty much second possessions in games 1 and 2. And I was like, okay.
what the Knicks do have going for them is that they have not played a good game this series
True.
yet.
That and Jalen Brunson hasn't been like great in this series yet. Like he hasn't had one of those
Brunson
great
and the whole squad in general, like they haven't had a game where like Cat's firing on all cylinders, which apparently he's injured. Apparently he's got a broken wrist or hand or something. But you just haven't had that game where it's like Josh Hart and Jalen, at least 3 of their players.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of Bridges and OG, or Jalen at the end of games, Josh Hart, who I love. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this isn't a talented team. It was cool. You do have these moments in the playoffs though, where like you get roped into some bullshit because the Knicks really, their top 6 is that good.
Yes.
Their top 6 is that good, but that's it. Like they have no bench. They have no business really being up 2-0 on the Celtics. That's how we got here. Like, so yeah, they could get one more, but man, they would have to like. I don't ever see a point where they're going to be up 20 on the Celtics. You know what I mean? It would have to be a close game. I don't ever see a point where they're just like, yeah, we see the Celtics shoot poorly, but same thing with the Nuggets. I don't ever see it getting out of hand to where the Celtics really got to strap it and come back from a 15-point deficit or anything like that. So,
and if they do, it's like 12 points early in the game. Like they blitz them and it's like 18-6, where like you're not worried about it, but a team just comes out hot, kind of thing. And then Boston by halftime has the game within 4. Like that's kind of where I feel like I don't think you get late third quarter Knicks up 12 plus.
mm-hmm.
Like I just don't see it. Like, and
12's
maybe
the limit. 12's the limit.
12 is the limit. Like
I
12
can't
plus
imagine them up
12.
15.
Nope, couldn't. I really can't. Like, I really can't. I'm with you 100%. Where I'm confident in Boston, but this round has made me nervous for them against the Cavs if they do come out, or even honestly, even a little bit more the Pacers, because the Pacers have the depth and can shoot with them and can run with them. And if Boston's not shooting well, then Indiana can get out and run, because Halliburton pretty much makes the right play every time, and they have players. So, and they've seen the team. They saw the team last year too. So like they kind of have like, I would be I'm more confident in the Cavs than the Pacers. I'm not trying to make it seem like it, but
It's
I'm
funny
just
because I
saying the
think the
Pacers.
Celtics. I think the Celtics. I think the Pacers are a tough matchup for the Celtics, but I also think the Celtics are a bad matchup for the Pacers. You know what I mean?
I
Um,
would like
the way the
offensively. I think both teams flourish, and then
the
like
way that
obviously, like,
exactly the way the Pacers get up and down that like lends to the Celtics style, but at the same time the way the Pacers push the pace because the Celtics want to play slow, right? So the Pacers being a fast-paced team makes stuff difficult for the Celtics, even though it really shouldn't, but it also plays into their favor because they should be playing fast with the shooters and the athletes that they have. So
yeah,
like it forces them to play a style of play that like is beneficial to the Celtics. Like I would take the Celtics. See, that's different. Now, I was about to say I would take the Celtics at the Pacers style of play over the Pacers, but the Pacers are deeper in a sense than the Celtics to some degree. As far as the scores, they're deeper. So,
yeah. Like
but the
they like
Celtics
the
can't play
Pacers
that.
truly go
Celtics
eight
can play
deep.
that way. Celtics can play that way over a 7 game series. You wouldn't want the Celtics to play that way over an 82 game series. You know what I mean? So,
Yes,
in short spurts, them playing the Pacer style, yeah, you favor the Celtics in that way because they can, if you're going to get Tatum and all these guys open, which is the case in games 1 and 2, by the way, Kenan. A lot of the threes they're missing were wide open.
yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
those go in against the Knicks. Like, I agree with you. Just to bring it back, I agree with you. I think the Celtics have a high chance of winning 4 straight. I think tomorrow's going to be tough, but will it be that tough? Game 3 should have been the tough one. You know what I mean? I think there's another world where they find themselves up 20. But back to the Pacers and Cavs. I don't know. I kind of want to see it all finish out to see before I make proclamations about that next.
I agree.
Um, I would favor the Celtics in both, and I still think
Same.
when it comes to shove, I'd pick the Celtics to make it out of the East. Um, I'd really love to see the Cavs though, just not having seen that matchup, seeing how Donovan Mitchell would handle that tough defense, man. The fact that you have 4 or 5 guys you can really just throw at him and see what happens. Donovan Mitchell truly plays bigger than his size. He's 6'2" and plays like, a 6'5" guard.
He
Shoot.
reminds me so much. He reminds me of a shooting Dwayne Wade so much, like a guy who can shoot a
A
little
bit, yeah.
more. But he just the way he's relentless, gets downhill, can facilitate. Like he just has so much Dwayne Wade in him. But speaking of, unless you have another point, this game's about to start. So
Oh yeah, it is 8 p.m.
yeah. So unless you have another point on them, Pacers, Cavs, we just left off on Donovan Mitchell and the Pacers.
Can I leave you on this, and this will be a cliffhanger?
Yeah,
I've
love
been
to.
meaning to mention this for a few podcasts, and I forgot to bring it up.
Yeah.
I saw this tweet probably, I would say, about 2 weeks before the playoffs, and it was a genius tweet. I don't even think it was like an NBA reporter. I think it was just a fan, and it was a perfect tweet, Keenan, if there ever was one.
Yeah.
They said they're like Kevin Durant joining the Warriors after a 73-9 season. Like, that's crazy. That would be like if Giannis joined the Thunder next year. I was just like, oh man, that's perfect because that's completely possible. It's just completely possible. The Thunder, that's why the Thunder have all these assets, is just in case if we really need to. If we can't get it done, we can just go get not just a star, not like go get Devin Booker if push came to shove. Like, no, we can go get Giannis, Jokic, or Luka Doncic or Anthony Edwards if push really came to shove. You know what I mean? Like they've got the tools for that. They've got
Hartenstein. I
years.
talked about this. Actually, I did a random last note. I did a podcast with 2 people that I went to school with recently, and hasn't came out yet, but it should be out soon. But it would pretty much be Hartenstein, Chet, maybe like Case and Wallace or Isaiah Joe, and a couple picks for Giannis, because
I'd say
Hartenstein
more
has.
than a couple picks. I'd say more than
I know. I know.
Westbrook
Like
got.
it'd be some
And I would say
some
Chet
picks.
and J Dub.
I don't know if I don't think they'd give up Chet and J Dub. I think
Hey,
it.
you've given up Giannis.
I think it'd be hard. I
Uh,
think you would be able to do Chet and Hartenstein because you're losing Brooke Lopez, losing Bobby Portis, maybe Gary Trent. Like they have not Thunder. The Bucks are in such a bad position when it comes to financials, and then they don't have much future draft capital. So I think they would take Chet, Hartenstein for
if I'm giving up guys
contractually.
Giannis, Antetokounmpo, you got to give me more than Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein.
Then maybe Jalen Williams and Hartenstein.
It's got
Like
to be. It
I don't
starts
think
there,
they
and then I'm
take.
stopping.
I was
Because
gonna say I don't think they take Chet, and I don't think they take Chet and Jalen Williams. I don't think the Thunder give that up with
that's what you got to ask for the
like
Bucks. I
four for.
mean,
Oh, I
Chet.
agree.
This is kind of like. I mean, not to the same degree. And Chet's a promising young player. Don't get me wrong, but he's already got injury history. I mean, it's similar to when like I was all up in arms that even though I don't like him as a player, when Phoenix gave up Ayton and only got Yusuf Nurkic back,
Yeah.
it's similar to that. Like if you're going to give up Giannis, you can't just be getting like Chet. You can't sell to your fans. Here's your new franchise, Chet Holmgren. Again,
Oh,
he's
I
promising. He's a
agree.
lottery pick, but it's got to be Chet and J Dub. You know what I mean? You got to look at it as like if I'm replacing this guy, I got to replace this guy.
I would say at least I think Hartenstein has to be in it because I think contractually like he would have to be in it.
Sure.
So I think it'd be. So I don't think they would give up all three. So I agree with you. Probably Jalen Williams, Hartenstein, maybe
I
Isaiah
can't wait to
Joe.
talk Giannis. I can't wait to talk more in depth. Maybe the next podcast. I want to talk some off-season storylines. And Loki, we didn't even mention this, Kenan. We get the lottery tomorrow, so we're gonna find out where the flag plays by the next time we join.
And the thing about it too is we've Stephon Castle, Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, and 5 firsts.
Spurs can go get him too. Spurs can go get him.
I'm just saying, Houston can go get him. There's some teams that the Giannis sweepstakes is real. So we'll see.
Can you imagine this? Imagine if they just held on to Luka just a few more months, 2 more months. All they had to do was, or who knows? Maybe they'd still be playing now if they had Luka. But if they really want to trade him that bad, they could have said, you know what? Let's see how this postseason goes. And if push comes to shove, we can just trade him for Giannis. And guess what? No one would have said anything.
And
no one would have said anything. We would have been shocked. Mavs fans would have been mad. But guess what? You'd be able to talk yourself into Giannis.
Oh, absolutely. And for the Bucks, okay, so we're getting a guy who may not be as good, but can reach clearly his levels, and he's 25, 26. Okay, sign me up, especially if Giannis is leaving. You could have just traded it straight. You get a younger guy than AD. You get a guy who plays defense. You get a guy who's a warrior who's going to go out there, put up 33, 15, and 6. Yeah, no. But, yeah, this game is about to start. I'm excited to talk Giannis. I'm excited to talk a little bit of Kevin Durant, too. This offseason is going to be fun. We got a superstar potential guy in Cooper Flag. And this draft's got some talent in it. I'm actually really excited about this draft. Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey. You've got multiple players, even like down low, even like lower in like a Ben Seraph who plays a little bit like Manu. Like there's some talent in this draft. I'm really happy about it. But Warner Brothas Podcast. This was good to do this again, Kyle. I feel it's been too long, but it was good to do this next time. Hopefully we got the computer situation out so you don't have to feel like you're just on the phone the whole time. But we're going to go enjoy Game 4, Cavs, Pacers, when this comes out. Probably you guys will know exactly what's going on with Pacers, Cavs and know the result. But Warner Brothas Podcast, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all at Warner Brothas Podcast. Appreciate the support. Appreciate everything. Like, comment, subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one.